In the last 18 months, luxury's biggest brands have cycled through creative directors and CEOs at a record pace. Some lost decades-old icons, others are betting their future on abrupt resets. Behind the headlines, nearly 50 million potential customers vanished since 2022, flattening a $440 billion industry that once grew without limits. Boards are demanding instant reinvention, but the real danger is simple. When status starts to wobble, only a few can survive in luxury. So what is actually forcing these moves in 2026? And who is really at risk? The global luxury market is projected to hit $440 billion in 2026. But beneath that headline, the growth rate is a shadow of what it used to be. Analysts now expect worldwide luxury sales to rise just 4 to 6% this year, a far cry from the double-digit surges that followed pandemic lockdowns. In China, once the industry's most reliable engine, forecasts put growth at 6%. That number sounds healthy, but for luxury, it is a recovery story, not a boom. The days when every new flagship or product drop guaranteed a stampede of buyers are over. Deutsche Bank calls 2026 a year of converging trends, where no region or category can count on outperformance. Even the strongest houses face headwinds, and the comfort of endless expansion is gone. Market reports point to a shift in how and where wealthy consumers spend. Experiences like travel, fine dining, and exclusive events are pulling dollars away from handbags and watches. Price hikes, once a reliable growth lever, now meet real resistance. Brands that pushed prices up 40 or 50% over 3 years are finding that shoppers, especially in the aspirational tier, are pausing, looking for value, or simply walking away. For the first time in years, luxury cannot rely on automatic demand. Every house is under pressure to justify its place and its price. The numbers are clear, growth is slowing, and the era of easy wins is over. If you want more luxury business breakdowns, subscribe now and comment which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Millennials and Gen Z now make up about 3/4 of all luxury buyers, but their relationship with luxury is nothing like the generations before them. The automatic reflex to buy the latest drop or to line up for a new flagship opening is gone. Instead, there is a new calculation. Is this really worth it? One shopper put it simply, saying, "If I'm going to spend that much, it has to feel rare, not just expensive." This is more than a mood shift. The numbers back it up. Over the last 2 years, nearly 50 million aspirational customers have left the luxury market, most of them younger buyers. High prices and a lack of novelty have pushed many toward resale, niche brands, or experiences that offer more than a logo. Even for those still spending, the bar is higher. They want speed, transparency, and a sense that the brand understands their world, not just their wallet. With millennials and Gen Z holding the balance of power, boards see every missed beat as a risk. If a brand does not feel relevant, it does not just lose a sale, it loses a generation. That is why creative turnover is not gossip. It is a direct response to a buyer base that is restless, skeptical, and always looking for the next story. If you want more behind the scenes, looks at luxury business breakdowns, subscribe for more. Tell us in the comments which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Gucci's board made its move in early 2025. Sabato de Sarno, brought in just 2 years earlier to steady the ship, was out. Kering, the group behind Gucci, had run out of patience. The numbers left no room for debate. Gucci's sales had slipped quarter after quarter, dragging down Kering's profits by 46% in the previous year. For a brand that once set the pace for global luxury, even a hint of stagnation was a red alert. Investors wanted a story that could turn things around fast, not another season of polite applause. Into this pressure cooker stepped Demna, announced as Gucci's new artistic director with a start date set for July 2025. Known for transforming Balenciaga with subversive, culture-bending designs, Demna's hire was more than a creative choice. It was a high-stakes gamble. Kering was betting that his disruptive edge could jolt Gucci out of its slump and recapture the attention of a restless market. The board's message was clear: stability was a luxury they could no longer afford. The stakes could not be higher. Gucci's identity and Kering's bottom line now hinged on whether Demna could deliver not just buzz, but a genuine revival. Behind the scenes, boardrooms traded in urgency, not nostalgia. Every day of lagging sales meant more pressure for immediate results, even as the cost of a failed reboot could haunt the brand for years. In 2026, the world would watch to see if Gucci's bold reset would pay off, or if the gamble would deepen the cracks beneath the surface. If you want more luxury business breakdowns, subscribe now and leave a comment about which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Chanel stands apart in luxury, a house where myth and reality blur, and where every move is watched, from Paris to Shanghai. In late 2024, Chanel confirmed Mathieu Blasi as its new creative director, ending months of speculation and quiet anxiety within the industry. Blasi, known for his innovative material work at Bottega Veneta, stepped into the role in April 2025, inheriting not just a brand, but a legend built on Coco Chanel's vision and Karl Lagerfeld's decades of spectacle. The challenge is to revive a sense of wonder without breaking the spell that holds global customers in thrall. The pressure was immediate. Chanel's board and president Bruno Pavlovsky praised Blasi's audacious personality and his ability to play with the codes and heritage of the house. But behind the corporate praise was a simple reality. Chanel's pricing power depends on more than craftsmanship. It depends on the belief that Chanel offers something rare, almost magical. If that aura fades, so does the brand's ability to command top-tier prices in a market where even the ultra-wealthy are hesitating. Months of anticipation built toward Blasi's first major outing, the Métiers d'Art 2026 show. Staged in New York's Bowery, the event blended Chanel's Parisian roots with American energy. Archival tweeds, pearls, and atelier flourishes met playful new silhouettes. Critics called it joyful, but the scrutiny was relentless. Every detail dissected for signs of either revival or misstep. For Chanel, this was not just a new collection. It was a public test of whether the house could restore magic for a new era, without sacrificing the identity that made it an icon. In 2026, the stakes for Chanel are nothing less than the power of its own myth. If you want more luxury business breakdowns, subscribe and tell us in the comments which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Donatella Versace's decision to step back in March 2025 ended an ERA that stretched nearly 3 decades. For years, the house's identity was inseparable from her vision: bold prints, gold chains, and the supermodel strut that defined the 1990s. Versace was not just a brand, it was Donatella's signature stamped on every collection and campaign. Her departure did not just leave a vacancy at the top, it created a vacuum at the heart of the house's DNA. The challenge that followed was immediate and unforgiving. The new creative leadership faced a binary trap. If they leaned too hard into the archive with Baroque patterns, Medusa heads, and the drama of old Milan, the brand risks becoming a costume, a nostalgic echo with little to say to new generations. If they pull back and chase a quieter, more minimal direction favored by a changing market, Versace risks becoming just another face in the crowd, stripped of the provocation and glamour that set it apart. This is the high-wire act of succession when a house is built around a single, unyielding personality. The new team inherits not only the codes, but the expectations of customers who remember Naomi, Cindy, and Claudia on the runway, and of investors who want to see Versace matter in a world less impressed by logos alone. Every decision, whether to revive the vintage safety pin dress or introduce a pared back silhouette, carries the weight of legacy and the risk of irrelevance. In 2026, Versace stands at a crossroads. Its next chapter will be defined not just by who leads, but by whether the brand can survive the loss of its living icon without losing itself. If you want more luxury business breakdowns, subscribe now and leave a comment telling us which house you think is most at risk in 2026. Jill Sander rarely makes headlines outside fashion's inner circle, but even here, the pressure to adapt is impossible to ignore. In March 2025, Simone Bellotti took over as creative director, following the departure of Luke and Lucy Meyer after years of careful, minimal collections. Bellotti's arrival was not about chasing hype. It was a calculated response to a market demanding sharper identity and clearer value. Marni, another so-called quiet label, also made a leadership change that spring. The brand's board, watching the same sales reports as everyone else, decided the era of pure artistry had run its course. The new leadership was tasked with threading a needle, keeping Marni's offbeat spirit alive but making sure every collection could actually sell. Now, boards want proof that creativity translates into receipts. These are not isolated moves. They are evidence the reshuffle is not just headline drama at Gucci or Chanel, it is a pattern running through every tier of luxury. When growth slows, even the labels that built their reputations on quiet confidence are forced to pick a side, double down on a bold point of view, or pivot toward commercial clarity. For designers like Bellotti, the job is not just about taste. It is about survival in a market where every collection is a referendum on relevance. The lesson is simple. In 2026, no brand is too discreet to feel the heat. Subscribe for more luxury business breakdowns and tell us in the comments which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Luxury's creative drama is only half the story. Behind the scenes, conglomerates are redrawing org charts and tightening executive control, determined to squeeze more certainty from a market that will not cooperate. In the last year, CEO appointments and C-suite swaps have accelerated across Kering, LVMH, and Capri Holdings, industry reports say. This is not just chasing the next big vision. It is enforcing discipline and aligning every team around performance. Boards want fewer surprises and more accountability. That means shorter leashes for creative directors and more power for executives who can deliver quarterly results, not just runway buzz. Technology is now a boardroom mandate, not a novelty. Over 70% of luxury shoppers expect augmented reality or virtual try-on as part of their experience, pushing brands to overhaul their digital infrastructure. The pressure is clear. If a client cannot preview a bag in 3 dimensions, schedule a VIP appointment on their phone, or attend a live-streamed show, they will move on. This demand for seamless, immersive shopping is not just a tech upgrade, it is a race. Brands that lag behind risk losing relevance with a generation raised on instant access and digital storytelling. Sustainability has become a non-negotiable baseline. Boards are slashing collection counts and demanding that new launches feature recycled materials, ethical sourcing, and transparent supply chains. The secondhand market is booming, and luxury's next generation of buyers expects every brand to prove its environmental credentials. That means creative directors are now judged not just on vision, but on how well they can deliver collections that meet these standards, while operations teams scramble to track carbon footprints and source recycled fabrics. The effect is a shorter creative runway. With every executive reshuffle, creative directors get less time to prove themselves. The board's message is blunt: show results fast or make way for someone who can. As digital and ESG pressures mount, The old model of letting creativity lead is giving way to a system where performance, compliance, and infrastructure come first. In 2026, luxury's survival depends as much on tech investment and sustainability as on the next headline designer. If you want more luxury business breakdowns, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Western designers are starting to look beyond Paris and Milan for their next act. Quietly, some are heading east, drawn by the speed and resources of major Asian groups and retailers. In Seoul and Shanghai, the promise is clear. Ideas can move from sketch to store shelves in a matter of weeks, not months. Production timelines are compressed, with supply chains built for agility, not tradition. It is a different kind of playground, one where creative teams have access to deep manufacturing networks, rapid prototyping, and the kind of data-driven insight that lets them react to trends almost in real time. For designers used to the long bureaucratic cycles of European conglomerates, this pace is magnetic. Fast retail giants in Asia can deliver capsule collections to market before a European house has even wrapped its runway show. There is also a sense of creative autonomy, less pressure from quarterly earnings calls, and more room to experiment with bold concepts and digital integrations. In this environment, the old rules do not always apply. As the chair game goes global, the competition for talent is no longer just about prestige. It is about who can offer the fastest path from vision to reality, and who has the resources to back it up. Subscribe for more luxury business breakdowns, and tell us in the comments which brand you think is most at risk in 2026. Pressure is building inside Europe's luxury headquarters. The talent that once flocked to Paris and Milan now weighs new options, tempted by a different promise: creative freedom without the constant threat of quarterly disappointment. In Asia's fashion capitals, designers find a rare advantage: fast production cycles, deep manufacturing networks, and the ability to turn bold ideas into product lines before European houses finish their next board meeting. The contrast is sharp. In Europe, creative directors face shrinking timelines and relentless oversight. Every decision is measured against sales charts and social engagement metrics. The cost of failure is public and immediate, seen in the string of high-profile exits and abrupt contract terminations throughout 2025. Meanwhile, Asian groups offer a playground where experimentation is encouraged, and the demand for instant results does not suffocate the creative process. For conglomerate strategists in Europe, the risk is clear. Lose top talent to platforms that reward vision over compliance, and the very edge that once defined their brands could vanish. The result is an uneasy standoff, with the future of luxury's creative heart hanging in the balance. In 2026, luxury is not just about logos. It is about who adapts fastest when status symbols lose their spark. With 50 million fewer customers and boards demanding instant impact, even the most iconic brands stand on shifting ground. The next creative director is not just selling a vision, they are betting a company's future. Which house is one bad season away from a full-blown meltdown? Drop your predictions below.